finance doesn't necessarily has to be boring. Like, there's many companies that are changing the game, how marketing is perceived in the finance world, and that's when I actually realized that, hey, they are doing cool things.
Hi everyone and welcome. Today we have a special guest, Noelle Dettwyler. She is the inspiring head of AssetRush, but she's not only leading this incredible event, she's also a young entrepreneur who's actually quickly made her mark in the finance and event space. We're going to dive into her journey, her role at AssetRush, and how Gen 2 plays a role in that. So let's get started. Noelle, welcome.
Hi Nadia, thank you for the invitation.
Let's look a bit at your personal background and career. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and where it all started for you? And did you always envision having a career in the finance and event space?
I did not envision to have my career in finance, even though it actually started in finance as an intern in content marketing at private banking in Fontobel. I really liked the marketing aspect of it, so I was like, oh, I'm going to focus on this. So then I went and studied communication whilst I was working in a completely different industry. And as I was working there, I was like imagining all these cool jobs that I could be doing in any industry, like fashion or jewelry. And then my first boss actually started working at Gen 2. She pitched me the company. I was like, okay, might as well give it a go. As I actually started, I realized that finance doesn't necessarily has to be boring. Like, there's many companies that are changing the game, how marketing is perceived in the finance world. And that's when I actually realized that, hey, they are doing cool things where you can think outside the box. And I think that's kind of how I also came into the passion of AssetRush, because I realized, like, hey, these finance events can actually be different and unique. So now I actually kind of like it.
So you're only 28 and you're already the head of AssetRush, which is a pretty impressive accomplishment. What made you push boundaries at such a young age? And can you share maybe some of the challenges that you faced?
I think working at Gen 2, pushing boundaries was always there. From everybody I met at the company, that starts from the top to the bottom. I think we're all about rethinking things and doing things differently. And I think that's kind of how I also learned. Pushing boundaries actually is a good thing. In terms of challenges, I think, as you said, I'm 28 years old. And in my role, I work with a lot of C-level or senior management, being in this conversation and listening to what they're saying and then reacting to it in my way and with my opinion. I think that's also challenging sometimes. What I'm trying to bring is not only the value proposition of AssetRush, but I'm also bringing the value proposition of me, right? And that's sometimes hard because you need to get the chance also to showcase it. And also you then need to prove yourself that you actually deliver on what you say.
Let's talk a little bit now about your entrepreneurial journey. You're a young female leader in a very male-dominated field. How do you navigate that, and what advice would you give to other women who want to, break into finance or in another male-dominated industry?
I think I learned over the past 1.5 years that unless you actually voice your opinion, nobody will hear it. If you have these meetings, you need to just step up and say it loudly, so they don't take what you said and repeat it louder than you said it. And as you go on and start trying these ideas that you have, you automatically grow the confidence. You are still learning, but that doesn't mean that they can't learn from you also, because you bring a new view, you bring a new generation into the industry. They are the ones now starting to invest, talking about money. Your opinion is valuable and you can say it.
No, I think that's really valuable advice. Even for me, who's almost 20 years older than you, those lessons are still valuable and it's still a learning curve. So can you take us through a day in the life of working as the head of AssetRush? What does your day typically look like?
No day is the same because I wear many different hats, right? I do marketing, then I do sales, then I do some content creation, I do design works. In the beginning, it was difficult for me because everybody's like, oh, you need to execute, blah, blah, blah. Like, it needs to go fast. But if you don't have a plan, it will not work. So you need some time to think about it, and then you start executing. What I try to do is actually focus on different tasks, a half a day or a day. And I try to reevaluate each week. So I reprioritize as I go through the week. I cannot tell you a typical day of mine, and that's what has been great on this journey so far.
Did you have any mentors or key figures that guided you along the way? And is there any advice that you received from them that's been really invaluable?
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough to have many mentors or people that have a lot of experience that have guided me and support me. And I think honorable mention needs to be Philip, because he's the initiator of AssetRush and the CEO of Gen2. I've learned this from the very beginning when I started at Gen2 as an intern. He just came by and tapped on my shoulders, and in my mind I was like, oh no. But then he actually just asked me to come to the kitchen, and they were going through rebranding of AssetRush at the time. And he was like, so you're new here, you're young, you're still studying. I want to ask your opinion about this new branding. He really gave me a chance at the very beginning of my journey, and he also values the opinion from everyone. And he really believes in them, and he makes you believe in them too. That shows you his leadership. Like, his support really helped me a lot. He also gives me great advice every week.
Yeah, I think we all need that one leader or leaders who take a chance on us to bring us to the next
Totally.
level. Let's move now to AssetRush and the Gen2 collaboration. AssetRush, it's become such a significant event. What was the vision behind AssetRush?
AssetRush was actually created by Gen2 to highlight all these unique investment products that they make available to the broader public. The idea was to bring investment opportunities from these innovators, as we like to call them, to the stage in a very short form content, and then connect them with investors. The vision behind it is still true to this day, creating this community of these investors and innovators and these new asset classes.
Let's talk about the partnership with Gen2. How do they come into the picture, and what role do they play in terms of AssetRush?
Gen2 still plays a crucial role in AssetRush, as they are still a partner of the event. And I think this connection will always be there because we both believe in connecting the ecosystem, and the ecosystem can only work if it grows.
So for those who are unfamiliar with Gen2, Gen2 was founded in 2018 and is a B2B fintech that basically provides the tools and technology to create mass customization of financial products, which is something that Gen2 refers to as assetization. How do you think that's going to continue to evolve with AssetRush, and how critical is that assetization story?
I think it's very critical. I think it's super important. Assetization brings out all of these products, these new asset classes, these untapped asset classes. That's exactly what also AssetRush is looking for, to then showcase these unique products.
What would you say makes AssetRush unique as an event? I mean, there's multiple fintech, financial events. What's so special about AssetRush?
AssetRush is really focused on giving you the content in a very short way, almost like a fire chat TED Talk. It's very vibrant and it's loud, and we like to play music and we like to make it fun. And I think that's what it is. I think it should be something where also the next generation likes to go to. Like, we talk about finance, me and my friends. I would love to go to AssetRush because it gives you the content in such short snippets that you actually can process it. It's just not stiff, it's just fun, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I attended before I joined Gen2, and yeah, I can attest to definitely the energy is on a different level. What's your favorite part of putting this event together, and is there any memorable moments that stand out for you?
I, first of all, love to work with different stakeholders, do these onboardings with our partners, listen to them, what they want to do, and to have all these conversations is just super fun. We try to, really shape their why away from their what they're doing. And these processes are so cool, and when they're then on stage and you see like how it evolved, it's amazing. Obviously the best part is when Damien actually goes on stage for the last time and he says, "Thank you for coming, it's been great." That's when I feel so much relief, and I could kiss everyone from the team because I'm so happy that everything went well. An amazing feeling.
What do you think the participants take away, and what's typically the feedback you get?
This year, someone said to me, "Oh my God, it feels like MTV." It's just showing you how the atmosphere, it's vibrant, the location is cool, the people are cool, but we do have serious topics also. And the fact that we can connect the two, I think is great, and I think that's what people appreciate also. I've also heard many people say that if you're in the audience, you get like these entrepreneurial feelings, you know, which sometimes you need that, you know, sometimes you need to have like this fire ignited again. I think that's what it can do, and I think that's what people like about it.
Well, looking now to the future, AssetRush each year is getting bigger and better. How are you planning to keep that momentum going?
We're reflecting each year. We want to make it better next year. We want to focus on the community aspect. You know, we do have expansion plans. Doesn't mean it needs to be bigger, but it needs to be an experience. So when you walk in, it needs to wow you. It needs to be great, and it shouldn't be just an event. It really should be an experience. That's where we're trying to focus on right now.
On a more personal note, where do you see your career going, and also your journey with AssetRush?
Soak up as a lot of information that I can. I want to learn more, how I can become a better leader. You know, and that actually is cool because you can see all the leaders around you and you can pick up a lot of things. And I also really want to build out the team, get creative minds in there who want to have fun and rethink how the financial industry is perceived, change the narrative a little bit, give it even more light to shine.
Thank you, Noelle. It's been a pleasure to interview you, and thank you for sharing your journey, and thank you for sharing where AssetRush is headed. And I think we're all excited to see what's next for you, but also for AssetRush. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Nadia.